but men that I know are church going people, and they're good guys, that they just, there's a difference between the way that they act during the week even, and the way they would act on Sunday at church. And I think to show up to work, but be consistent in your faith in the service and, in your everyday work. I think that consistency is something that's just so important to be a good example. But it's a conscious decision, man. We have to decide these are things we're going to make a serious part of our schedule, and it's not going to change. It's going to always be that way. I think prayer and a good time in the Word is such an important place to start.
Speaking of lemonade, Chick-fil-A lemonade or Milo's lemonade?
Dude, I'm as much as I love it, I think that there's an argument could be made for sweet tea. If you'd have said sweet tea, I might actually said Milo's, but lemonade, I'm going.
Welcome back to the Sunday to Society podcast. I'm your host, Riley, where we help you go from the pews to the public square. We release new episodes every Monday on your favorite podcasting apps as well as YouTube. You can watch the video version on YouTube or Spotify and listen to the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever else you get your audio podcast. I'm joined with a very special guest today, one of my best friends in the entire world, Jayman Yant. Jayman Yant, how the heck are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for that kind intro.
As I was thinking about recording today, I was just reflecting on our friendship together. And can you believe it's been 11 years?
You beat me
since
to it. We're
like almost to the day.
Just about, man, because college is starting up. It's crazy. 11 years ago, we formed a bond, you and me and John. Good times in the dorm.
My wife's favorite story of ours from our college time was that me, you, and John, we made the decision very early on that we were going to be in each other's weddings.
We did.
Of course, John got married way before me and you, because we both got married in 2020, 3 weeks apart.
Exactly.
John got married in 2017 or something like that. He got married way before we did. And so it's been quite the friendship, and we're getting old. Man, you just turned 30.
We are, man.
I turned 30 here in a couple of weeks.
Dude, enjoy 29 while it lasts, man. It's not going to be for long.
Man, we're getting old. We're getting old, but that's all right.
We are. It's okay. I mean, there's been good things that have come along with it too.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure I could think of a few if I had some time.
For sure. For sure. Well, take a minute to introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, where you live now, and what your involvement in church is from week to week.
Sure. Well, let me give you just a brief overview. So I was born in Maryland, and I've kind of lived all over the place, but we moved to Alabama when I was really young, like 6 months. Lived in Alabama, moved out west when I was 7 to Washington State, where, might I add, you are at now, just very close to where I grew up, and lived out there till I was 13. And then when I was 13, my family moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, and we went to Temple Baptist Church there in Powell. And that is where I went to high school from 9th grade through 12th, and then took a year off after high school, started at Crown College fall of 2014, and was dorm mates with you right there. Me and Riley have been friends, like you said, for 11 years now, which is crazy. And I met my wife at school there. She was at Crown. She robbed the cradle. She's a year older than I am, a year and a month older than I am. So she's from Alabama. And it was funny because it so happens that her family had a church here that we never knew about, even though we were very, very, very close to their church when I lived here as a child. So got to know her, and we did what we call long-term, long-distance dating for a while. We did it for a good little bit. And then right before we got married, I was trying to decide where we were going to live, and me and her were making that decision. We had a lot of prayer went into that, but we ended up moving to Alabama. She went home, and I followed her there. We got married in 2020, November, just like literally 3 weeks after you. And so, I have a job working for a company, a plastics company, and a guy in our church here, he got me that job right as I was praying, like, Lord, what do you want me to do when I go to Bama? Because all I've done is work with my dad laying floors straight out of high school. So moved here and took that job. So I am a full time secular worker, but my father in law is the pastor. My wife is the pianist. His dad was the pastor before him, and so my role is kind of a little bit everything. Mainly bus route, bus driver. I'm a deacon as well. Became a deacon earlier this year. So I kind of just jump right in, do whatever I can. Teach them Sunday school once in a while. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you are literally involved in everything. It seems like every time I talk to you, which is quite frequently, not
it
quite
is.
every day, but it can be almost every
No,
day.
it's several times a week we're sending messages for sure.
Yeah, and you
Also,
are
real quick plug for
yeah.
Marco Polo, because
Dude,
how
for
about Marco
real.
Polo keeps me. I would never talk to John because the dude is
No,
the worst texter in the world. You
he
know
is.
this.
Yeah,
John, he's the worst texter. I love the guy, but I swear, if someone paid me $1 million to guess who wouldn't text me back within like 3 days, it would be John.
yeah,
So Marco Polo, I keep up with you,
yep,
John, Sam, just a couple
yep,
other people.
yep.
So man, what a great app.
It is. It is. John, he might respond once every 3 weeks, maybe. I know he's busy too. I mean, the man's got what 3 kids now.
Three
He's
kids
going to
and
school.
school.
He's involved in church. He's
Yeah,
working. I mean, the man's
yeah.
busy.
Yeah, he's busy
But
for sure, no doubt.
one of the, what we should have done, and we can still do this one day. Have all three of us on. Me, you, and
Oh, that'd
John.
be fun.
That'd be so much fun.
We could just reminisce, maybe like top couple favorite stories from
Yeah.
school.
Oh yeah.
There's plenty of
There, there's
great
plenty. There's
moments.
plenty that we could tell on the podcast. There's plenty we could tell off.
Hmm.
So
So yeah, some we might not want everyone to hear, but yeah,
exactly, exactly. But yeah, when you said you were a deacon, just for me personally, when I think of deacon, I think of somebody who's older, middle age at
yeah,
least. And to be honest, I
exactly.
think you're the youngest deacon that I have ever known and probably will ever known. And not that that's a bad thing. In scripture, there's no age. Like you must
Yeah,
be 45 older. But
yeah.
I think there's qualifications. And,
Hmm.
the church has deemed you worthy of those qualifications to be a deacon. I think that speaks greatly about your character for sure.
I
For
appreciate
sure.
that, man.
Well, you are
Appreciate
most
that.
welcome.
It was kind of funny when the deacons came to me and a couple other guys about we kind of had several older deacons that were just ready to kind of take a different role and kind of step out of that main deacon board. So they were
Yeah.
trying to get a couple others. And when they asked me, I was just like, I don't think I'm old enough to do that, right? Surely.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. I thought for me, I thought do we have to have kids? Like, do I have to have this and that? And they were like, no. So just pray about it, and you're serving, so it's good enough for us. So yeah, but it's still kind of weird sometimes. Like we have a deacons meeting coming up later this week, and it's just like, man, I have to go to that.
That's how I feel about being a pastor. Like, man, I'm not old enough for this.
Yeah. Do you ever think that maybe it's just like we don't realize how old we actually are now? Like we're the
Yes.
people that we used to
Yep.
look up to.
Yep. I think that's exactly what it is. Well, we want to talk about biblical manhood and being a layperson in church. And I think when I thought of this topic, I thought, you know what? Jamin knows a little something about this. Things about being involved. To be honest, though, you probably do just as much ministry as some people who are full-time vocational ministry.
Well, and I say this, we have a smaller church. It's
Yep.
not some grand, great, huge number church, but we one thing we do have, even in a church that's not gigantic. We're not scaring any mega churches around, but we just have such an amazing church family that's just there's really no one that's not serving. And it
Yeah.
really makes it easy to serve when there's nobody not serving. So
It does. I was talking to a friend today actually who was at a church this weekend for a mutual friend of ours. Him and his wife, they're doing everything. Church of about 70 people. They are running
yeah,
everything. I mean, they've got kids and they're trying to run the entire church with a church full of older people. And
yeah.
it's just they're kind of getting burnt out because they are having to do everything. And so when you have people who are getting involved, that makes ministry so much easier. Whether or not
Yes.
you're the pastor or a leader or not, it just makes ministry so much easier.
Yeah, just so many hands, it really
Yeah.
lightens that load. And I think you'd probably agree with me. A lot of the ministries, even some of the big ones that we've seen firsthand, and it works for some people. It doesn't. It's not always the case, but there are times when you see like such a small handful of people do almost everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a small number of people, and it's like almost everything you see day in and day out. It's on just a couple people's backs.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard it many times and I find it true that 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
almost every church I've ever been in, it's like that.
yeah,
And it's,
I would agree.
it's so we've talked a little bit about what you do in a church week in, week out. So how would you define biblical manhood for somebody who's not in vocational ministry?
It's a wonderful, wonderful way to start this out. I think I even talked to my dad about this recently. My dad is a layman. I mentioned I worked
Hmm.
with him straight out of high school. My dad is just literally my hero. You know him. He's a man of few words.
Hmm.
He's just a workhorse. The man, I think he actually prefers to work over rest, which I hope I don't quite get to that level. But he's just a really hard worker and he's faithful dad, faithful husband. And I just asked him recently too, like what does it mean to be a biblical man like for you, in
Yeah.
the workplace? And he had mentioned like, because he's pretty tied up at work, he's got a kind of an important role at the company he works for. He's not able to really be involved in a lot of the extracurricular ministries at
Hmm.
church.
Yep.
But he just mentioned that his ministry is to be a light in a workplace. I don't
Yep.
know if many people like on your podcast in the audience have really been around a job site very much, but there's some very colorful language and colorful people that you run
Yep.
into in
Yeah.
trades. And it actually doesn't take all that much to really stand out. You
Nope.
become very quickly, people peg you like this guy's doing some things and not doing some things.
Hmm.
I feel like you just might be a Christian.
Your dad is there almost every church service at Temple. Every
Hmm.
time I've been to Temple, your dad's there. I didn't even know that your dad sang, and your sister and your dad were up there singing multiple times actually. Now at this
Yeah.
point,
I think my sister kind of pulled him into that. He doesn't love to do that, but he does it because my sister kind of conned him into doing it.
and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I saw your mom sing this past week at their gospel crusade.
Yeah, the crusade. Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
did. I think they had a pretty big choir down there, so she probably was a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of biblical manhood, I mean, your
Hmm.
dad, my dad, I think of grandfathers too. And I know you were brought up very similar to the way that I was brought up, that it was no question that you were going to church Sunday
Oh yeah,
morning,
not
Sunday
an
night,
option.
Wednesday night.
Not an option.
Yeah, unless you were
It
sick,
kind of
like
simplifies life
yeah,
to just it not be an option. But
yeah,
yeah, unless you were literally dying,
yes, exactly right.
just about to be dying.
You better be on your deathbed. And I think,
Yeah.
I do think that it's part of biblical manhood.
Uh-huh.
It's showing your family, setting the example for your family, the importance
Yeah.
of being in the house of God.
I think there's some really low hanging fruit there for a person honestly to separate themselves
Yeah.
from the world, and it's just even I'll be honest, dude. Even some Christian men that I know that are Christian. I know they are. I know they go to church. They're good people. And we live in. I live now. You have up until just recently in the literal Bible Belt of
Hmm.
America. Pretty much everybody claims to be a Christian.
Yep.
Down here,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of lost people, by the way. But men that I know are church going people, and they're good guys. That they just there's a difference between the way that they act during the week even
Yeah.
and the way they would act on Sunday at church. And I think to show up to work but be consistent in your faith in the service and in your everyday work, I think
Yeah.
that consistency is something that's just so important to be a good example. I don't know that there's necessarily like one passage of scripture where it just says, hey, if you're going to be a man, this is exactly how you do it in a biblical way. But there's a lot of verses. I was looking up some verses in First Timothy chapter 5 verse 8. It talks about man is to provide for his family.
Mhm.
Ephesians, it talks about leading your wife and loving your wife and being sacrificial in that love, and to raise a family, teach them the ways of the Lord from a young age, raise them up
Yeah.
in church, and even just as a man to pursue the right things. Be a spiritually minded man. Don't fall trapped into
Yeah.
just keep your heart right, keep your mind right. There's a guy at the gym that says you got to get your mind right. And sometimes I think we need to do exactly that. We just need to keep it a blank slate, keep it fresh.
Yeah, for sure. And when I think about the importance of biblical manhood, I mean, you see it firsthand doing the buses, and we'll get
Mhm.
into some of that here in just a minute. But
Yeah,
I mean, there you can tell who's got a dad, who doesn't have a dad,
my goodness, yeah,
who's got a man in their life who wants to become Christ like and who doesn't. And
yeah,
we'll get into some of that more here in just a minute because
definitely,
you
definitely,
see it firsthand, and so we'll get into some more about that. What type of aspects do you think when I think of biblical manhood? I mean, what you have to think of Christ, right?
yeah.
I mean, you see paintings of Christ, and he's this real skinny guy, might or might not have long hair with a beard, whatever.
There's a lot of
But
debate on that, Riley.
there,
I know some people that claim he had to have had a fade, like there was no way he had long hair.
right, right. But I mean, you think what was Jesus's occupation
hmm
growing up? And his dad,
Yeah,
carpenter. You ever see a
carpenter.
carpenter who wasn't strong?
Yeah, you
I
think
mean,
he's got to have been raised to be a man's man.
yeah,
Woodworking is tough, man. I've only done just a little bit of it, but it's very precise. I mean,
yes,
without modern tools, it can be
yes,
very labor intensive. So this was no mama's boy
no,
type Lord that we serve. He was a
no,
working man. He
yep,
learned a trade, and a tough
yeah.
trade.
I've got a woodworker in my church.
Mm,
He's 80 years old,
yeah,
but he is all over the place.
yeah,
He will work and work and work. He will get down on the floor and do whatever. Last summer, me and him, we built a whole fence for a couple of weeks. Just him and I. At 80 years old, he's down on the ground putting in
yeah.
post. I mean,
Unbelievable.
insane. And I think what was this man like in back when he was 30 years old?
Grandpa, he was the pastor of our church before her dad took over about a decade ago. It's almost he just had his 10th anniversary as pastor. But before that, his dad, Kelsey, my wife's grandfather, he started the church, and he was pastor for 44 years before my father-in-law Denny took it over. But he was a layman.
Yeah.
He worked construction. He led a job site. He could just about build or do anything, even now at 84 years old, 83 years old. But it was just a generation that just worked,
That's
just a
exactly what
strong
it
work
is. Yep.
ethic. And I think I can't think of a biblical example of a Christian man, somebody that I really respect that doesn't have a strong work ethic. I just don't
Yeah.
think that really exists.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely see Christ's work ethic in his ministry.
hmm
I mean, he was all over the place doing all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah,
It's something that I think we can learn from for sure.
yeah,
Something we can, ultimately, our goal as Christians is to be Christ-like.
yeah. I just think of, like my dad. I said he means a lot to me. Yeah, he's a working man, and
Yeah.
I think that's just so important because I mean, whether you are in full time ministry like yourself, for me who works a day job and is there for all the other stuff, the stuff that
Yeah.
I show up for during the week outside of just services. It it takes it takes work, it takes dedication, it
Yeah.
takes consistency. There has to be some intention there. It can be exhausting,
Oh, yeah.
but you have to decide, is this something that I'm going to make a part of my schedule, or is it not?
Yeah. So, okay, so you are not on platform every Sunday. You're not preaching services, not you do teen Sunday school every once in a while, I know.
I
So
do,
how
yeah.
do you continue to be faithful despite your busy schedule?
Mm.
because I know there's the expectation of you are the, you're the pastor's son-in-law, so you're expected to be there.
Yeah.
And how do you do that when you don't have a title? I mean, you have the title of deacon, but your name's not
Yeah.
on the sign out front. How do you stay faithful from week to week in serving in church as a layperson?
Like I said, I think it's just a decision that you have to decide. I'm kind of trepidatious to just take on a thing unless I think to myself, this is something that if I'm going to say yes to this, then Lord helping me, I'm going to be doing this consistently all the time. This is like almost a block in my schedule,
Yeah. Yeah.
because something that I just have a hard time with, and yeah, I try my best not to be this way, is to start something and just do it for a bit and then kind of drop it. So
Right.
I really think of like ministry. I'm a little more hesitant to just say, yeah, I'm going to do a thing unless I'm planning on consistently doing this thing. So it definitely does get to a point where you just you're deciding consciously, I'm going to make this part of my routine. And
Yeah.
this is going to be part of my week. And through that, there is some exhaustion. There's times you want to be a little selfish. You want to go home for once, like other people, go straight home to lunch instead of drive a bunch of kids home first. There's times like after a Wednesday night, we do Wednesday night bus route as well. We don't just
Right.
do Sundays.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't do that. This is actually one of the first churches I've ever heard of. When I started visiting my wife when she was living down here, I had never really seen a Wednesday night bus route like program before. It's always been a Sunday thing. So I was like, man, they really take bus seriously, which I love. But man, it's it's effort that's required rush home. Yeah, I've talked to you
Yeah.
sometimes, literally running out the door at work, trying to drive straight to church and find some way to eat some dinner before you get there. But the Lord is so good, man. I'm just so thankful for the opportunities I have. I try to remind myself of that whenever I'm sure you feel this way too. Like you can get to feeling sorry for yourself, but you also it's just such an opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, who will sometimes? So I try to
Well,
keep
that's
those things in
yeah.
mind.
I think you're totally spot on with the sense of you just got to make up your mind. I'm going to do this
Yeah.
whether I like it or not.
Hmm.
Cuz there's listen, be honest, there's some weeks that I don't feel like getting up and preaching in church.
Yeah, man. You preaching. I'm just talking about babysitting a bunch of kids and
Right.
playing some guitar. Like it's
Right.
something to get up. I mean, honestly, tell the people how much time do you think you prepare a week for preaching a Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night?
Well, including this week when I have to teach Sunday school too.
Hmm. Including that
This week probably 25 hours between all four at least.
of study time.
Just study time. Yep.
See how
Just
many?
study time.
That's a lot of time, man.
Yeah.
That's like a part-time job studying.
That's not including, prepping for other church events we have coming up. That's today
Yeah.
I was swapping out air conditioners at the church because we have window units. That's
Mm,
the week during VBS. I put in a 13-hour day nonstop. And that's with just a little bit of study in there. That wasn't including
yeah.
much studying at all. And you just got to make up your mind. Look, I'm going to be faithful because this is where God's called me to go.
Yeah.
This is
And
what he's
by the
called me to
way,
do.
yeah, let me say this too. I respect more than just appreciate. I really respect the person that would say, I'm not gonna say yes to this because I don't think I can sustainably do this thing. Versus
Correct.
a person that's like, absolutely, I'll help this. I'll do this
Yeah.
ministry. And
Yeah.
then, it's hard to get them to show up.
Yeah.
It's and I obviously, everybody's situation is different.
Yep.
Everybody's got different kinds of responsibilities. But just for me, and I'm not always consistent in this, but I really do try hard not to say yes to something I don't think that I can continue to do. Because like I said, if you leave that hole, it's not necessarily something that's going to be filled.
Hmm.
So some people just need to know their limits. And if it's not something that works, then, absolutely, that's totally fine. But if you're gonna, I would encourage anybody that if they're getting involved in a ministry to really give it 100%, whatever it is. It could
Yeah,
be something big or small, but if you're involved or you're asked to be involved, you have an opportunity to be involved in something, then if you're going to do it, just give it everything you got, and don't be on the fence with it.
I totally agree. I've been in vocational ministry now for, man, almost 5 years. Actually,
Hmm.
over 5 years at this point now,
Yeah.
but full time for
When did you become assistant pastor?
March of 2020. So that was part time. Full time, I started in May of 2021 and have been
Hmm.
full time ever since. Was assistant pastor and now pastor for
Yeah.
a year, right at a
Not
year.
only pastor at, like, it's not like you just became the pastor at the church you've been at. You're like, I'm going to go to the other side of the United States of America
Yep.
and take over a church.
Yep. And you know what? That all stems back from a decision I made when I was 16. And that's the importance of saying yes to God and getting involved in church where you're at.
Hmm.
And all that leads from one thing to another. Remember having lunch with a mutual friend of ours, Brian, all stemming back
Well, yeah.
from talking to him on the phone. And he found out that I was out here in Washington. He's like, dude, that's something you had been talking about for 10 years. I said, yeah. And it goes back even further than that.
I mean, I remember in college you talking about the
Hmm.
West. I mean, you've had a
Hmm.
passion for the West for forever.
Yep. And there will be times where I thought there ain't no way I'm ever going to make it out there. And I
Hmm.
figured, well, maybe God is calling me somewhere else. So, but I was just going to be faithful where he had planted me.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. And then here I am.
Yeah.
And I think,
Yeah.
when you do get involved in ministry, just be faithful. Whether it don't matter if you're a man or a woman, just be faithful where you're at in ministry,
Yeah.
regardless of your position, regardless of any type of title that you might hold or whatever. Just be faithful where you're at
Absolutely.
because
And, like you said, you just serving where you're at until the Lord opens a door. If you're just walking through open doors that are clearly open doors, then you're on the right track. If
yeah,
it's a door that the Lord allows you to walk through and you don't have a clear answer where to go yet, just stay planted where you're at and do that. Do it well and wait for whatever might come in the future.
right. And I think that does also stem along the lines of biblical manhood, just being faithful where you're at.
Hmm.
Think about how different churches, not only churches, but think about how different our nation would be if more men were just faithful where they were at, where God had planted them.
Yeah, man. That's such a good point because I feel like we, especially now, and I'm sure it's always existed. We always think like, well, it wasn't like that before, and this is the way it's headed now. But I mean, I think I was talking to my boss not long ago about back in the day, like when you got a job, you worked that job till you died. You worked until you had like pension. We come from generations that even in just their secular jobs, like they didn't hop around. They didn't try to find an opportunity here for a year and then go somewhere else. Like sometimes the most amazing thing to me are people that just stayed. They just did the thing and they never stopped doing the thing.
Yeah.
That's as impressive as anything else that you could do. Sometimes just finding, like, I went back to Riverview, which is the church that we went to out west, saw some old friends. What just blew me away, what encouraged me was there are people there that are doing exactly what they were doing 20 years ago when I was there as a child. They're
Yeah.
doing the same thing for a new generation, but they just didn't stop.
Yeah. That's really a good testimony to the people there at the church that are involved in that for do the same thing for 20 years or
We had
longer.
a dear lady that did like a puppet show for Sunday school.
Yeah.
And I was the little kid, like at the end of the lesson, like we'd have a little puppet show just to get everybody's attention. And I texted her, messaged her on Facebook when I was there. I was like, hey, if you're still here before you go home, I'd love to just say, hey, me and my family are here. And she's like, hang on, I'll be right there. I'm finishing up the puppet show. And I was just like, man, that's just so cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Switching
But
gears a little
yes.
bit, I'm thinking
Yeah.
about spiritual leadership at home. As
Hmm.
you're the husband
Yeah.
and you and your wife don't have any kids, and hopefully
Yeah.
the Lord will bless you with kids one day. Dude, what's it look like?
Yes.
What's your experience like in being the spiritual leader at home? Because you've got your ministry all at church. You're working a
Yeah.
job, you're involved in church. You come home, you're still called to be the spiritual leader at home. I know you
Yeah.
talked a little bit about your dad growing up.
Hmm.
What's that like now, stepping into that spiritual leadership role at home?
Well, first off, I'm blessed, and I know you are as well because your dad's an amazing guy. Love the guy. We had dads that, they were consistent in our lives. My dad was a busy man. Your
Yep.
dad, I know, has traveled all over the place.
Oh yeah.
He's traveled a
Oh yeah.
ton,
Oh yeah.
and yet I feel like they did a good job of being very present in our
Yep.
lives
Yep.
as
Yep.
I may have not seen him all day. There were some nights he worked late and maybe I didn't see him, but he made an effort to spend time with us whenever he could. He was we were not in any way, I felt like, neglected by my father. He
Yeah.
was a busy man and we knew that. But he was very present in our lives growing up. And he was present with, my mom. They spent time together. And he spent time with us. We had a few things that we always kind of gravitated towards, but I think the key is just to not be any different at home even
Yeah.
versus the way that you are at church. To be that leader in the home. I think there's also, maybe you can help me think of some, but there's some, not that the Christian life is a checklist, but there are some things that my dad made a priority and they just never changed. They were always on his to-do list. For one, I know my dad, we talked about this recently. My dad wakes up at the most ridiculous hour.
It's
Nobody in
insane.
the world should be waking up. My dad wakes up at 3:30.
Yeah, that's insane.
3:30. Dude, there are nights I'm probably not even catching my real sleep yet at
Dude,
3:30,
there because of the time difference, there's some nights I'm not even in bed yet by the time your dad's waking
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I mean, you're just like, "Dude, what are you doing?" But my dad, I cannot, even on vacation, which we didn't do a ton as a kid, I can't think of a morning that I woke up early that my dad wasn't at the kitchen table or in his chair doing devotions and praying every day for,
Mm.
I mean, well over an hour, maybe not quite 2, but my dad gets up that early, literally brushes his teeth and goes in the living room and makes a pot of coffee, and he's in the Word for hours.
Yeah.
And I just think that is a conscious decision.
Yep.
I'm gonna make this a part of my every single day.
Yeah.
And now you and me, we're in that spot. We've been in that spot, but I feel like 30s taught me a lot these last few days. But it's a conscious decision, man. We have to decide. These are things we're gonna make a serious part of our schedule, and it's not gonna change. It's gonna
Yeah.
always be that way. I think prayer and a good time in the Word is a such an important place to start.
And it's, finding that balance between home life and
Mhm.
ministry life, especially in both of our cases, because they are so interwoven with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they are all tangled up.
Yes.
But finding that
Yes.
time that you are spending alone with God
Mhm.
is so important. And that really is part of being the spiritual leader in your own home.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I have noticed that if I am neglecting time with the Lord, then I can't be the husband that I should be.
No, no, definitely not. We've heard, how many times have you heard the word preeminence? Christ
Yeah.
should be preeminent in all things,
Yeah.
you know? And if he's not, I think that you might be able to fake it for a little while, kind of
Yep.
go through the motions, but eventually I think that really is just going to tell on you. And those are the moments I feel like the moments when I've maybe been out of the word more than I should. I haven't prayed. I've woke up late, rushed to work, and just gone through all the things, but not done it with the right mindset. Those are,
Yep.
I feel like, the moments that I would be quicker to get short with Kelsey to kind of let that old man kind of sneak out, when I've
Right.
just not given enough time to the word like I should.
Yeah. I think it's super, super, super important. And going back to being involved in church, you've been involved in bus ministry for
Hmm.
as long as I've known you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So when we think of being the right spiritual leader, being a biblical man, dude, how important is that? Because I know alluded to it just a moment ago that you see kids come off the streets, see kids come from every walk of life. Dude, how
Yeah,
important is it to be the right spiritual leader, not only for younger kids, but for the upcoming generation?
yeah. Well, I mean, you said it, man. It's there's a very clear difference that you find out really fast when there's a kid that has a solid home life. Maybe, and by solid home life, maybe even just the parents are still together,
Yeah.
even that
Yeah.
is considered like, better than most. But I feel like it isn't hard. It doesn't take long to realize the people that just have the roughest home life, maybe no present father in their life. There's a huge difference in the way they behave,
Yeah.
their respect level, the way that they are turned off to any type of authority or discipline. There's just I mean behavioral. There's you could go on and on. There's a lot
Right.
of difference, but
Yeah.
there's a severe lack in their life by being without their father. And there's
Yeah.
quite a few people on our bus route specifically. I would say probably I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 75% of them don't have a dad at home.
Wow. Wow.
And there's a huge difference. It's just
Yeah.
it leaves a big hole.
Yeah. In your bus route, what is the percentage of black kids to white kids?
Well, up until recent years, it was I mean we live in I mean Trailer Park Central, just
Right.
about where we
Yeah.
live. But
Yeah.
there's so for the longest time, it was mostly just really southern redneck kids.
Yeah.
But a couple years ago, there was an area that was being built. Some houses were being built, and quickly we found out like they were like lower income government housing, and it reminds me a lot of a bus route back at Temple. They're like nice looking homes. They're kind of
Mhm.
pretty homes, but it's actually not a great area.
Right.
And so we have a lot of African American kids come out of there
Yeah.
quite a bit. So now it's I mean I would say like on a Wednesday night, it's probably about half and half
Okay.
as far as like just ratio of that.
Yeah.
Because that neighborhood, we picked them up last, and that's half, if not a little more than half of our route. So,
Right.
we went from having 15 kids on a good night to having, maybe 45, something like
Wow.
that, when we started like getting into that area.
Yeah.
It's a mission field, dude.
It I know, especially in the African American community, the odds of a child being involved in gang related things, ending up in jail or prison when they don't have a father is just astronomically high.
Hmm.
I should have looked up the stats, but it is just insanely high,
Yeah.
especially in that community. And it's
Hmm.
really an epidemic in that
Yeah.
community. But the same thing is true for the white kids too.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
why it's important for people at church to kind of be a mentor to them, especially if they don't have that fatherly figure in their life, as you're
Yeah.
saying most of them don't.
Yeah. It's very true. I think that, that like I said, it leaves such a void, not only in like the behavior, but I mean, there's just a severe lack, and it's present. It's very clear, and it's also insane to me. Most of the people that we run into that have fathers in the home aren't even like their fathers. They're
Yeah.
a stepdad, or they're so and so's boyfriend. So that's their father figure.
Yep.
But most of the case, it's just a lot of single moms.
Yeah.
A lot of there's some that are sadder than that. There's some that almost are taking care of themselves, and they have people like check in on them. These
Yeah.
are teenagers, and some of them they don't have either parent in the home most of the time. So it's crazy.
It is. And it's sad too, because you find out that when a home is run the way that God designed it to run,
Hmm.
things just work out so much better.
They do. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. I say from the pulpit sometimes, it's as if God designed it that way.
Yeah, it's almost like there was a purpose behind this.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's why it's important, when we come across these people,
yeah,
teenagers, sometimes it's not even teenagers, sometimes it's younger kids too. I know you deal
yeah,
mostly with teenagers, but not
yeah.
exclusively. I
No,
mean,
definitely not.
the problems that these kids deal with today blows people's minds.
So things at an age, dude, like there's stuff that they know I don't even know. And I'm
Exactly.
30.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, how do you even know about this?
Right.
How do you have any knowledge of that?
Yep. Yep.
It's wild.
That's why I think it's so important for us who are involved in church to be that role model for people, especially teenagers and kids who don't have that at home, because where else are they going to get it?
Yeah.
They could either get it from somebody that's running the gang on the corner street, or, they're going to get a good role model from the church,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. And like the good influence, hopefully, that we have with them, a couple hours a week
Yeah.
is going up against every day at school and
Yep.
every waking moment, like in the area that they're in, being pulled the other way,
Yeah.
you know? So sometimes it feels like almost a losing battle with some of them just because
Right.
there's so much more time in that situation than there is with spiritual people, Christ-like people that want to see them grow spiritually and take steps.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah. I can think of growing up, we picked up three brothers and took them to
Mhm.
Awanas we had Awanas on Monday night,
Yeah.
and they did not live in a great part of town.
Hmm.
And we took them to Juana's, but everybody at Juana's trying to have a good influence on them, but unfortunately, the bad influence won
Hmm.
over them. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they're even still alive anymore because of the
Yeah.
crowd that they were running with.
Yeah.
And it's sad because you try to put as much influence, good influence, as you can in them, and sometimes you see people overcome it and get out of those situations and
Yeah.
be positive for the Lord, but unfortunately, that's not always the case.
It's just there reaches a point, and it's not this way for everyone, but there are some even, and I'm thinking of specific people. You don't know them, but there's families that it's just like, will one of y'all break this cycle? I know this is
Yeah,
all you've ever known, but will one of you just learn from all the poor examples that have been before you and break this cycle? I know you can. The Lord can help you
yep,
get out of this situation if you can.
yeah,
And it's almost like you're just almost like a cheerleader, just trying to encourage them. Please, please, please don't fall for all the same things.
yep.
Don't make all the same mistakes.
What drove you into the bus ministry? I don't know if I've ever asked you this question. I don't know if I know the answer to this, honestly.
Yeah. So, dude, like I said earlier, I'm a pretty all-in guy. I'm either
Yeah,
100% or nothing with most of the things that I choose to do. And it's this way about everything. Like, I don't drink energy drinks until I try one, and then I'm like, I will make this a part of my life.
yeah, yeah.
You and I both talk about Ghost. The first
Oh
time I
yeah,
had Ghost, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good. Had one, had another one, and I'm like, if this became part of my daily routine, it's okay. So I was at Temple, and I was probably about to graduate high school, I would say. So I'd have been probably 16, 17, and I was not involved in bus ministry at all. Never had done it. The only thing I'd really done at that point was just door to door.
hmm,
So I went in with, I did that as a kid, and I did it some as a high school student at Temple. And several people that you would know from that church and the college, like there's a lot of people that are part of that bus ministry. It's a big bus ministry,
oh yeah,
and a couple of them came to me at different times and were like, "Hey, we'd love for you to, join our route, um, be a part of the bus." I think Temple had at the time 12 routes, 12 different routes, and this was like two or three different routes had approached me about this, and I was like, "No, no, I couldn't do that. I don't want to. I'm so busy, and there's so many things going on in my life as a fifth grader that I just don't have time for such things."
right, right.
Yeah. Do you ever Side note, do you ever think about how much free time we had at that
I
age
would.
and we acted like
I
we had
even said
none?
it from. I said it from the pulpit. I think it was on Wednesday. I said, "Man, I wish I could go back because I thought I was so
Like,
busy back then, but I wasn't busy at all.
I
I had
was
nothing going
responsible
on."
for like 20, 30 minutes of homework, and that
Yeah.
was it. Like,
Yep.
after that, it was whatever.
Yep.
I'm like, man, didn't appreciate that at the time. But yeah, I was just super hesitant, man. I didn't want to give up because at Temple it's a big deal, and it should be a big deal everywhere. But
Sure.
it's like Saturday morning at 8:30. You're driving to church for a bus meeting,
Yep.
and that's gonna go for a little bit, and then you're gonna go visiting till maybe early afternoon on Saturdays, every Saturday.
Hmm.
And Sunday, you're gonna wake up really early. You're gonna go actually pick all these kids up, take them to church, take them home. You'll get home at like 2 in the afternoon on Sunday.
Yep.
So I knew it was going to be a really involved thing, but one of my closest friends in the world, Jared, as you well know, Jared,
I
he
do.
was
I
also in my
do.
wedding.
Yep.
He was the bus captain of, at the time it was a specific route. It changed. We moved routes due to some issues, but Sam, tall dude,
Yep.
he was starting at Crown. And for those that don't understand, Sam and me have been like joined at the hip since I was like a young teen. Him and our friend John have been
Yep.
best friends since like infant stage.
Yep.
And so me and Riley honestly are kind of the latecomers to
Yep.
the friendship. But
We are. We are.
Sam was starting Crown, and he started when we both graduated. He went straight into college that fall, and I sat out a year working with my father. And when you go to Crown, you have to be a part of a ministry. Doesn't really matter what it is, but you have to be in ministry
Yep.
somehow. And Jared pulled Sam into bus ministry, and Sam joining bus ministry got John into bus ministry. And then I was like, well, man, there's no reason not to join this bus route now because all my best friends are there.
Yep.
So that's how I got into bus. Was just it took a couple of my friends. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna be busy all weekend, but at least I'll be with my closest friends. And man, I fell in love with it. I was so hesitant to join bus because I knew how much time it would take. And man, I'll tell you, the kids have just such a way of just grabbing your heart. You put yourself, you see them in their home, you see how they're raised, you see how they live, and you just I'm not saying bust is for everybody because it's
Yep.
certainly not. It is a tough ministry. There's a lot of heartbreak that goes along with bus ministry. It is a time consumer thing for sure, but man, I just fell in love with it, and I've done it now since fall of 2013. So that's would that be 12 years?
Yeah.
A little over 12 years. I've been in bus ministry here and there. I was at Temple till we got married in 2020. And then when I got married and we moved down here, they were already doing bus ministry here, so I just jumped in here with my wife and her sister. Yeah, man, I have no regrets. I wish I'd started sooner. It's just like I said, it's got its heartbreak, but it's such a rewarding ministry, and I wouldn't change it.
It is. I don't know if you knew or not that dad was reached through the bus ministry.
I did not know that.
Yes. So it is because of the bus ministry and through VBS ministry that my family is in church was in church at all.
Really?
My mom was a deacon's kid, so she didn't have a choice to go to church. But yeah,
Yeah.
my dad was reached through the bus ministry.
Is your dad a first gen?
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
dude? That's amazing. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Now eventually both of his parents became believers and got
Praise
involved
the
in
Lord.
church, but yes, he is on his side. Yep. First gen for sure.
Wow,
So
dude,
that can
I've known you for all this time. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that really shows you the importance of the impact that bus ministry can have on people.
And there's a lot of people. I mean, you could name a lot of different people that have been reached the bus ministry.
Mhm.
I know several. I mean, some of them you'd never think it just because of what they're doing and how involved they are. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
it's touched a lot of homes, a lot of families for sure.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, man, I regret not starting a little bit sooner, but it really opened my eyes to the need because you kind of just find this comfortable bubble to live
Yep.
in.
Oh yeah.
Growing up the way we grew up, we're in church. That's just the baseline. We're there when the doors are open, and joining bus really showed me what kind of homes some people live in that I had no idea.
Very much so because some of them are just so broken.
Hmm. Yeah,
So broken.
just messed up. Like there are
Yes.
no words.
Yes.
You almost couldn't even make up some of the stuff that these kids are living in.
Right. And when I think about bus ministry, it's hard not to think of the verse in Second Timothy 2. You got Paul to Timothy, faithful
Hmm.
men, and then others also. Like
Yeah,
that it can be the bus ministry in a nutshell by itself because here you are,
yeah,
a faithful man in church trying to teach others also, those bus kids. And
yeah.
whether or not wherever you fall on the line, but it's like if nobody reaches, if it weren't for the bus ministry, who else would be reaching those kids?
Hmm.
And then the kids,
Yeah.
can reach the parents, and then It just can transform so many people's lives.
Dude, and also we just live in an age where, I mean, I don't know what it was like back in like the 70s and 80s, like I hear about from some people older than me, but bus ministry is a dying thing. It's
Hmm.
it's not something that's done much anymore.
Yeah.
I think we're the only. It's cool how the Lord kind of gives you little moments of encouragement when you need it the most, but there's seasons where it's just like, are we making a difference? Are we
Yeah.
actually doing anything, you know? And it's this neighborhood I was talking about. It just seemed like a lot of work and no fruit for the longest. And then one day we were driving through on a visitation, and a lady waved us down, waved the bus down. Lady, we didn't even know her. She said, "Y'all the bus that comes through on Sundays and Wednesdays?" And we're like, "Yes, ma'am." And she was like, "I think you're the only church that I've ever seen come in here, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing." And man, just that, like, opens your eyes. It kind of gets your eyes off yourself and your situation. You just think, man, truly, like you said, if we don't go, who's gonna go? There's
Correct.
nobody else doing that. There's for where we live and as many churches
Yeah.
as we have around us, there's just a couple that pick anyone up. It's
Yep.
just who comes, and they're happy with that.
Yep.
So
We just wrapped up our vacation Bible school just a couple weeks ago.
yeah,
And there are half a dozen to 8 different churches in this small town that I live in. I mean, I live in rural Washington. There ain't too many,
right,
there's less than 3,000 people that live in this town. And there are
yeah.
six, seven, 8 churches. Dude, did you know not one of them have a VBS but our church?
You're the only one,
Only one.
dude. How crazy! I
And
feel like VBS was
everybody
something
does
everybody did.
VBS.
Yeah,
Right. There's another church that does something similar to VBS, and it would be comparable, but it's not quite, the traditional VBS that we think of, Monday through
yeah,
Friday or Sunday through Thursday, different people do it differently. But
yeah,
yeah, it blows my mind that we are the only church that does VBS.
yeah. That's wild.
And, it's it's wild on how some of these ministries that are reaching kids are almost non-existent anymore
Yeah,
for some places around the country. It's wild. It's
it
very
is.
wild
It
and
is.
very sad too at the same time.
I think also as we kind of progress into this next phase of life, which is we're no longer the ones being told, but we're the ones that are like telling. We're the ones that are serving, and
Yep.
we're no longer the ones being ministered. We're ministering. You see just how important it is to pass that torch and to see another generation reached and teaching and serving and yeah, it's crazy how many ministries I feel like that just don't make the next generation the priority anymore. They're happy with what they have. They're okay with the church with a bunch of gray heads,
Mhm.
and I think you need those people for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we have some of the greatest people in the world that, just have so many stories, so many moments that are just mind blowing what the Lord's done in their time. But you have to have that next generation to carry it on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. All right. Couple rapid fire questions that I didn't give you to prep for.
Dude, no, you didn't even prep me for this?
Not for
Hold on,
those
I
at
gotta
all.
go.
Mountains or beach?
Immediately my mind went mountains, but
Okay.
dude, I love the beach. And I didn't get to go to the beach a lot as a kid. We didn't really live near one.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go beach. It's
Final
beach.
answer, beach. Night
Yeah,
in or
locking
night
it in.
out?
Night out. I'm a big extrovert. My wife
Yeah.
would probably never do that, but
Right.
she'd love to just be at home. But yeah, I'm a night out guy for sure.
Yeah. Some of the greatest memories are us going out,
Oh
getting
my
some
goodness, how
some
many
B dubs,
how many
going to the
shenanigans did we
go
get
and watch a
into?
movie.
Yeah, man, and that's when back when movies were good.
I can't remember the last time I even been to the theater because there's nothing
Trying to
good.
remember the last time I went to the movies and saw like a good movie.
Yeah,
It may have actually
right.
it may have actually been Top Gun Maverick. That may have been the
Yeah.
last one that I saw.
A favorite ghost flavor.
Strawbango.
See, I had that for the first time
Did you?
recently, and I was
What'd you
like, "Ooh,
think?
it's good. It's really good."
Do
It
you like
didn't
it?
top.
It's not your favorite though.
It didn't
You're
top
a cherry
my favorite
limeade
of cherry
guy.
limeade. Yep, it did not
Yeah.
top that, but
Hmm.
it's up there. I had the They don't call it bomb pop anymore. They call it
Yeah,
something
the America
else.
Pop.
That's what they call it. I had that
America Pop.
for the first time in a while because it was like
Hmm.
a 7-Eleven exclusive, but they have it in grocery stores now, or did.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
I'm
Maybe
not a
because the
big
4th of July
fan.
is over.
I'm not side note, but I'm not a big fan of how certain stores carry certain flavors
Correct. Yep.
because man, sometimes there's one I still haven't tried. I'm trying to get my hands on. It's the new iced tea lemonade one. I don't know if you've seen
I
that.
haven't even seen that one at all.
I really want to try that one. I
Yeah.
can't find it anywhere.
Yeah. Speaking of lemonade, Chick-fil-A lemonade or Milo's lemonade?
Dude, have you had Milo's lemonade?
I have had Milo's lemonade.
Really? Okay, so Milo's is people probably just know that from like the gas station, but like Alabama is where Milo's like the actual
Yep. Yep.
resides. So,
Yep.
dude, as much as I love it, I think that there's an argument could be made for sweet tea. If you just said
Yeah.
sweet tea, I might actually said Milo's, but
Yeah.
lemonade, I'm going Chick-fil-A. Just don't
Chick-fil-A
think that
lemonade.
anybody's doing it better.
Actually, funny story. We were walking through Walmart not too long ago, and all the way out here, we saw a gallon of Milo's sweet tea and a gallon of
Really?
Milo's lemonade. Yes, all the way out here.
Really?
Yeah, they have made their way
Wow.
to Washington.
That's a long way.
It's a long way from
It's a long way.
Milo's.
I just don't think people there's just nobody doing when it comes to lemonade, nobody's doing what Chick-fil-A's doing, man.
No, nope, they're not. They are not. Nope. You live in Alabama, so Alabama or Auburn?
Yeah, Alabama. If
Yeah,
I were an Auburn fan, I would have never married into this family because they don't allow such things. Not that kind of blasphemy.
no. I knew where you're going. I knew you weren't going to be yelling War Eagle.
No, can't do it. Roll Tide, baby.
I
For
am ready
football.
for some college football.
I know that there was a couple games apparently the other day, and it was like, I mean, I think I'd rather watch a couple high school games than some of the ones
There
that were going
was.
on. But
Uh,
we're about to
so
get to the big time.
yeah. So if you're gonna watch college basketball, I know you're a big basketball fan. If you're gonna watch
Yeah,
college basketball, you're gonna be watching Alabama.
yeah.
But if Alabama's not on, who you gonna watch?
Gonzaga,
That's what I thought.
Gonzaga. Even
Yeah.
though right now I feel like they had like 3 straight years with a wonderful, wonderful power forward named Drew Timmy that they were on the cusp of getting their first natty
Yeah.
for literally 3 straight years they had their
Yeah.
best shot. And I'm still gonna root for them. I'm a Zags guy. Like I want to see them do well, but I just I don't know. They just can't seem to go all the way. Not
No.
yet.
I remember the first time. It might actually be the only time I've been to the Gonzaga campus. Dude, it is
Hmm.
tiny. It's like a
Oh
city
yeah,
block. It is so small.
it is, man.
But
That's a
their
small
men's
one,
and
cool.
women's program are so good
Yeah,
for
I
such a
think
small
basketball is
Catholic
like
school.
I think it's like the only sport they play. I know they don't play football.
They are actually getting ready to start football. They are joining the
Really?
Pac-12. They are joining the Pac-12. I don't know if
The
it's.
Pac-12.
I think it's next year. I think it's
Okay.
next year they're starting football.
Well, good luck to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's the
Pac-12,
Pac-12.
stiff competition.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh
Let's
man,
see. Final question. What's your favorite sport? Favorite sport?
it's basketball for sure. It is. I will always love basketball most. It's the only sport I ever got to play.
Yeah.
We moved a bunch growing up, so I didn't get to actually play ball until we moved to Tennessee, and that was really the only sport other than soccer that my high school had. So basketball was it, and I'm I just love the game. It's a
Yep.
fun game. It's fast paced.
Yep.
I do love football, but I think if one's got to win out in the end, I think it's gonna be hoops.
Got to be hoops. Yeah. Actually, what I lied. One final question. Favorite
Mhm.
sneaker. I know me and you love sneakers, and that's something we have bonded over
Yeah,
the
we
last
have.
several years.
We have, and
You
I
got to
feel
pick.
like you and
You
me,
you got to pick one. What's your favorite
we
sneaker?
one
Just one. You can only buy one pair of sneakers for the rest of your life. It can be anything.
one pair for the rest of my life. Wow. Okay, that's different. If it's my favorite sneaker
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
that is probably gonna be a different answer than what I'd wear
Okay.
for the rest of my life.
Give me both then.
All right. My favorite sneaker ever, I don't think that there's one that compares to me personally is Jordan 1. Jordan
Yeah.
1
Yeah.
high tops. That's
Oh
just
yeah.
my favorite. It's my favorite sneaker.
Is there a specific color colorway you would pick in
Mm,
those? You going with
I
the
can't, man.
originals?
I can't. They actually dropped. I have one pair of them. They have this suede pack that I
Okay.
just really love.
Yeah.
These are called the Turbo Greens. I have them
Yeah.
right over there.
Yeah.
But that's probably my favorite sneaker if I had to choose one would be like that suede Jordan 1. Really like
Yeah.
that. But one that would get the most wear would probably be just a pair of Forces.
Yeah.
Um, Air Force Ones. I don't think that there's a shoe out there that's just a little bit more easy to throw with just about anything you got. So
Yep.
it'd probably be that. But dude, I'm getting sneaky into New Balance, man.
Oh, no.
Really,
No, no,
really
no,
love
no,
some
no,
New
no, no,
Balance. Yeah,
no,
I'm
no.
turning. You see
New
the curved bill?
Balances?
I'm turning into a dad
Ah,
hat, dad shoe kind of guy. Not even a
ah,
father yet. Yeah.
man. I tell you what, I love these on clouds that I've got, the cloud monsters.
Yes.
So comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't think they're quite as comfortable as my Ultra Boosts,
Mm-hmm.
but they're pretty stinking comfortable.
Yeah. No, they're good, man. I have a pair. Mine are way more beat than yours, I'm sure. I've been wearing mine for a while, but
Yeah.
yeah, super comfortable. I changed my wife's entire family. I changed their lives because they were all about like the cheapest sneakers they could find. One by one, I tried to make sure that they were all into something good, and now
Yeah.
I've got them all spoiled. Now they only want Hokas and on clouds and stuff like that.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Jamin, it is so great to have you on. It's good to catch up. We will do it
Thanks,
again
man.
soon.
We will. We got more to talk about.
We have got way more to talk about. If you like this episode, you can follow us on social media at Sunday to Society on Instagram. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up wherever possible. Leave us a rating and a comment wherever possible. I hope you have a great day and